Yeah, you've been involved heavily with the Diddy case. You was even named they had you in the trial documents. When you first saw that, how did you feel about that?
Like I needed to flee. That's what I thought. Time to go. Cause I'm tired of paying for lawyers and shit, man. Like that be costing me a lot of money. So I just felt like I need to distance myself, pay my lawyer, and get on straight up.
Cool. I want to ask you a question. 50 Cent stated that this documentary is not personal, but given his decades-long rivalry with Diddy, how much do you think of the series is credible, and how much do you think it is basically undermined by 50 Cent's obvious his own personal vendettas?
Well, the film business don't really pay like that unless you got the rights to a lot of important stuff and you got big names attached to it. So 50 was only getting $25,000 an episode for Power on Stars. So, that goes to show the vice grip grasp that people got in that industry. So he just building this portfolio. I don't think it's nothing personal, but you got to get in where you fit in.
Get in where you fit in, okay. 50 promised, I don't know if you heard this, 50 Cent promised that the proceeds from the Netflix documentary would go to the victims. How can the public really ensure the financial success of the documentary would directly benefit the individuals who came forward rather than primarily just enriching the producers at Netflix?
You got to file that Freedom of Information Act. File that FOIA request to get them documents. Only way you're going to find out.
Okay. Did you hear Diddy's team also claim that the pre-indictment downfall footage was stolen? Did you hear that?
I heard that. At the end of the day, Diddy did not pay the camera guys. They sat there for all them days and didn't get nothing. The light bill comes by everybody every month at the same time. You feel me? You can't keep the lights on with hopes and wishes. That cheese got to show up eventually. So
But what if Diddy's legal team successfully argues that the footage was illegally obtained? Then what do you think? Does that jeopardize the admissibility in the criminal proceedings? Like, what do you think that does in the court of public opinion, though?
Well, we just seen Netflix buy Warner, a couple more companies. So if they bag ain't big enough to outpay them, so good luck.
I guess you got a point. They controlling the game, so
good luck.
Yeah, I hear you. Do you believe anybody in Diddy's former inner circle, has a moral obligation to come forward now, even though they have no legal obligation? Do you think anybody from his team has a moral obligation just to come out and say, hey, look?
Hell no. They ain't come out before the trial. They didn't show up at the trial. He didn't have no good character references at the trial. Ain't nobody saying nothing until after he got sentenced. Because everybody was worried that they was going to get caught up in this bullshit.
Well, that's what leads me to my next question, too. This is what a lot of people were saying in the public. They're like, well, you got this documentary. You're showing everything about P. Diddy, the freak-offs. Well, you made a docu-series. Well, why don't you make it more substantial ever to name the question of who were the celebrity attendees? Why is nobody talking about them?
Because the guy Jeffries at Abercrombie was supposed to flip. He got ruled unstable, incapable of being in court. Once he got took off the table, Diddy don't got nobody to tell on. So he was left with the one-man freako. It's over with.
I mean, is the lack of naming high-profile celebrity and attendees, you think that's a strategic decision to avoid, like, libel suit from other actors other people that may come forward to be like, oh, that's a lie. You think they just left them out? That could be a strategic, legal move or a strategic move too. What do you think?
Several celebrities got the opportunity to do deals with the Men in Black before this shit happened. Just like the FBI went to Ben Affleck, they went to everybody else. You feel me? Just why we see people in our government getting undisclosed checks from other celebrities to get out of bullshit. Same thing.
I mean, so do you think the industry needs to basically collectively address this film industry culture of silence regarding the shit like casting couches and, freak-off parties? Or you think that's just everyday Hollywood?
It's everyday Hollywood, and they can't because everybody in Hollywood is hired. They don't own shit.
You know, the funny thing is, while you was talking, and I was thinking this, I mean, Netflix not gonna tell on themselves.
They don't got to.
Because I'm sure some of the same people, you know, they're in the industry themselves. Why would they, you know?
Why would they?
Why would they? So yeah, that makes sense, you know.
Oh no.
If the focus remains solely on Diddy though, answer this question. Does it let the record labels, parent companies, distributors, all of the legal teams who align with, you know, him considering, you know, are these like, you know, like are they just doing that being predatory with Diddy? Like, you know, these companies that's attached to him, they just trying to just get money.
The whole industry is predatory. You see what I'm saying? And like this dude could have led his people down a prosperous path. He could have established a legacy of doing good business. He chose not to. And now everybody is coming to his defense after they didn't show up to court to testify that he was a good person. Dork clown shit. All closet, geeky, zest apocalypse activity.
Zest apocalypse activity. Okay.
That's all it is.
You know, in the documentary, you know, it painted a awful picture of the culture of bad boy, man. Like, you know, like this exploitation of all the people that have come through there. You know, do you believe that was a fair assessment? You know, from what you saw or what you heard?
What do walking to buy cheesecake have to do with a record deal? He is just like every other weirdo who goes into power. They get off by abusing their power. And we've seen it over and over throughout history. The whole Making the Band show, only thing people remember is people fighting and them walking for cheesecake. Can't nobody name no albums from them. None of those people have money right now, and that's just a fact.
Man, I think I just saw recently on the interview he was on Camp Capone with us. I think he said it took him 4 hours to walk there and back. I think something like that. He say 9 hours to walk there and back.
Wow, shit.
Man, something like that. I didn't know how long it took him, but I know where Junior's is. But I mean I know where Manhattan is and to Junior's, and yeah, that is a long walk. That's a long way. So
Zest walk.
Zest walk. The walk of shame, huh?
Let's call it the Zest trot.
So this is the public's response. Some of the things I heard.
What's up? This is Cam Capone. We got more content like this coming soon, so hit that like button, subscribe, and stay locked in to Cam